What's up, guys? I'm recording now. This is Monday. We're back from break, and as you see on this calendar that I posted, we have exactly 2 months left. 8 weeks. Half of those weeks have an e-learning, half don't, and pretty much what you see is what you get. So between now and then, we have 2 things going on in this class. Okay, one is CodeHS. That unit, it's called Advanced HTML and CSS. It has a lot of stuff that I like. We're not going to do every single lesson in there. I'll probably do like half of them, and then the rest will be extra if you want. But you don't have to go on ahead. You can wait for me to assign each one. And hey, look, one of them was due today. I think I marked that in the middle of the last week of school. So we've got that CodeHS, which has a lot of concepts that are very generally useful. Even if you never use HTML and CSS again, it's all just efficient, intelligent ways of putting things together. So for example, if you take Computer Science 2 next year, we might do a lot of Python, which is a different language, but it's really the same concepts. You'll be doing stuff with multiple files. You'll be doing stuff with making a function and then calling that function. You'll be doing stuff with labels, like in HTML you give something an ID and then you mention that ID. All of that stuff applies anywhere you want in general coding terms. So I haven't put in the grades for those, but I will, especially this one that says due today. And that'll be a nice consistent thing we have once or twice a week. The other thing, and I told you this before, is this quarter we're going to do a bigger, beefed up version of the chatbot project. So you guys made we called it the chatbot warm-up project last quarter, where you had an idea and you made your template with questions and answers that you filled in, so the user can type something and the computer has a response. And some of you guys really got pretty good at that, and others just had like 2 or 3 layers, just the minimum, and that was okay. But we're going to do something bigger now. It's going to be group instead of individual, so you can break it up and you can have one person do the code for the question and answer, another person do the CSS, another person deal with theming and images and design and stuff like that. So that's one way it's bigger. Another way is that we're going to do not a lot, but one round of user testing where you give it to somebody and you get their feedback and you change it based on that feedback. Okay, that's what you saw in the previous CodeHS quarter 3. And then it's also going to be hopefully a little more visually enhanced with a little design of not just like a repeating image in the background, but maybe you decide on what colors are going to be best, how do we want the buttons to look, not just based on sort of random, I want it to be green, but I'll ask you some questions about like, what do you want it to convey? If you want it to seem serious and medical, you have to have a certain look. If you want it to seem fun and if it's recommending movies to people, you have a different aesthetic. Okay, so anyway, that's going to be the 2 sides of this quarter. We got the CodeHS with some programming concepts, and then we have the chatbot with using it, working with the group, testing on users, putting it all together, that kind of stuff. But today I wanted to start with something small and something preliminary for that. And I want to talk about coming up with an idea. This was a big part of the CodeHS user experience unit last time. And when you're coming up with an idea, you want it to be sort of thought through And if you think of something and then start and then realize that it was a dumb idea, you have to go back. But if you think of it a little bit in more detail and you know it's going to be good, that helps. Today is just the brainstorming part. You won't have to come up with any super detailed plans. But here's what I got for you. I got links to 2 articles. And these are about something you've probably seen before. It's about high school students or other people of that age who made apps or made websites or made some kind of interactive thing that people can use in real life. So this one I linked to is meet 3 teen girls who made their own apps while still in high school. And they're big idea. They're sort of serious things. One is a mental health awareness, and one is about buddy system, keep safe on college campuses. This one is called algorithm. It's supposed to be like algorithm but with girl, and it's about getting people involved in computer science. Your thing doesn't have to be such a big issue, but reading this can help a lot, and I would recommend you guys take a look at this page. The second one is also a giant thing, and I don't want to be intimidating. If you just want to make something smaller, that's okay, and I'll get to that in a second. But this is a nice story. I don't know if you heard about this, or if you saw this a few months ago, but in early to mid 2020, there was a lot of debate and a lot of consternation about coronavirus data, about how some states were really not freely publishing what they had, or they were not describing it the right way. Florida had a lot of problems with that, and their data scientist ended up kind of publishing stuff that she thought the world needed to know, even if the governor didn't want it. It's a big issue there. But this kid made a website that was tracking the data, all the publicly available stuff, and it ended up being a thing that people would go to and actually use because it was better than a lot of the alternatives. So it would say not only what was out there, but stuff like survival rates and sort of like not only how likely am I to get sick in a certain spot, but how likely am I to get consequences given that I do get sick. And of course, the big story with this is that he turned down ads, so companies emailed him and said, hey, we'll give you a big check if you advertise our stuff on there. You ever see on like Twitter, somebody has a viral post and then under it, it's like, hey, buy this weird light bulb that glows in a stupid way, or buy that weird thing that you ever see that picture of like people peeling something off their skin. And that's because whenever you get a viral post, companies will DM you and say, hey, we'll give you, $10 if you post this thing. His thing, it was more than $10. It was closer to 10 million. But he said no, because he's awesome and good and doing the right thing. You guys take a look at this article just like the other one. And I thought that might be a little bit of what? Oh, I don't know if you heard, if you're on the recording, I got a question from the class that said, I wonder what his parents said. I have a feeling that this kid is already comfortable. He's already got enough money in the family. He's not starving. So if you are someone who is, homeless and in real danger, then I would not blame you for taking the money. But if you're somebody who's already doing fine and already on track to go to a good college and everything, it's a different question. Now, you guys don't have to do that, of course. And what I'm asking is for 3 different angles. So today was a brainstorm. 1, a big idea. Maybe something like in those examples. maybe a service everyone uses or an issue that affects everyone. It could be related to something even bigger than they approach, something like climate change, or it could be something like, oh, is McDonald's open today? I don't know. You could think of a big issue. And then two, my question for another type of idea is a small thing. Okay, something like tracking the school parking spots, or I was in the middle of typing this one. Somebody asked me a question, but what would be another sort of small local idea, like is it a snow day today, or something like that? Okay, you might have a certain real world issue that's not a big one, that's just down the street. Okay, and then three is something a little more silly. When you guys did the chatbots, I had actually the best ones were like the silly ones that were like, oh, I'm going to tell you what movie you should watch, or some kind of Star Wars theme or something. And that's fine if it's good and if it makes sense and if the user sees it, understands it, gets something out of it, walks away happy with a solid basis to the whole thing. So I'm asking you for all three, and you don't have to write a giant essay, but maybe a sentence or two. And this, instead of being a real lonely individual, open up a Google Doc type of thing, I want this to be a discussion and a brainstorming session where you see what other people say and get inspiration from it. So for this, I would like you guys to put the answer in a reply, okay, under the thing. You don't see it now on my version because I haven't hit post, and even if I had, it's not the same view. I'm a student anyway. But you'll see one thing that says add a private comment, and you'll see another thing that says add a class comment. For this, we're going with class comment, and you want to post something that other people can see. Once we get some going, maybe it'll take us somewhere, and we'll start thinking about like, oh, these two people had an idea, and maybe they'll be in a group together. Or these two people agree on this, and maybe they can come up with the next version of it or something like that. So I'm going to, in the video, I'm going to hit the post on the assignment, and we'll get started on that part. I will also maybe grade the previous thing today and put that in. If you still go back and do it, that's fine. Just let me know. Thanks.